International Miss Junior dilibatkan sebagai PhD.
Arahkan pandangan ke depan, Tuhan kan menuntunmu. Sadarilah masa berganti, tantangan kan kita hadapi. Bergandeng tangan untuk negeri, era kita.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the International International Economic Ecology and Department of the International Faculty of Economic and Business, University of Jember, with the theme Strategies for Sustainable Growth in the Developing Countries. The organized by Master of Economic, University of Jember. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Salam, Om Swastiastu, Namo Buddhaya, Salam Kebajikan. The Honorable Dr. Siti Maria Wardayati MSc, AKC, ACPA, as the Vice Dean 1 of the Faculty of Economic and Business, University of Jember. The Honorable Dr. Herman Cahyo Diarto, SCMP, as the Study Program Coordinator of Development Economic. The Honorable Dr. Endah Kurnia Lestari, SME, as the Coordinator of Master Program in Economics. The Honorable Miss Yuriko Nagajima, as the Consultant of WWF Japan. The Honorable Miss Julian Q. Baskansilo, PhD, as the National Research Council of the Philippines. The Honorable Mr. M. Abdul Nasir, SEMSG, as the moderator of this event, and we are proud of all of the participants who have joined this event. Well, ladies and gentlemen, let's begin this event reciting Basmalah together. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Honorable guests, ladies and gentlemen, today's will be opened with several agenda. Start with singing Indonesia National Anthem, Indonesia Raya, and Marx Faculty of Economic and Business, University of Jember. To mark our first agenda today, I would like to invite all of the guests and participants to stand up as we are about to sing the national anthem of Indonesia and Marx. Please stand up. To the comedy, the time is yours. gentlemen, you may now return to your seat. Ladies and gentlemen, the next agenda is the opening speech will be delivered by Professor Dr. Istifada as the Dean of the Faculty of Economic and Business, University of Jember. We are sorry because our Dean has another schedule at the same time. And the opening speech will be delivered by online with Professor Dr. Istifada MSc. To the committee, the time is yours.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Salam sejahtera bagi kita semua. Salam sehat semua. Good morning, distinguished guests, students, and colleagues. It is truly an honor to welcome all of you today's international guest lecture to the theme International Economics, Ecology, and Empowerment Strategies for Sustainable Growth in Developing Countries. I am particularly excited to introduce this topic as it is at the heart of some of the most pressing challenges and opportunities our global community faces today. As we gather here, we are reminded that the world is interconnected more than ever. The decision made is one corner on the globe resonant with consequences felt across borders, especially when it comes to economic growth, environmental stewardship, and social empowerment for developing countries. These challenges are amplified, however, they also present remarkable opportunities for innovative, inclusive, and sustainable solutions. Why the topic matters? International economy isn't just about trade agreements, exchange rate, or global markets. It's about how economies interact in ways that either uplift or hold back societies, how policies crafted in one nation can affect the growth potential of another, and how collaborative strategies can drive collective progress, but economics cannot stand them. It is down deeply to ecology, our planet's health, and empowerment, how we enable people to participate in and benefit from economic growth. Ecology, or the health of our national environment, is not a side issue, but the central one. Without sustainable practices, developing economies may grow in the short term, but will face long-term consequences, depleting their natural resources and leaving their citizens vulnerable to environmental crises. Empowerment is equally critical. Economic policies and ecological strategies must be inclusive, creating opportunities for all segments of society, especially women, youth, and marginalized communities, to participate in and share our future. Today, we will explore these three interconnected dimensions: international economics, ecological sustainability, and empowerment. We will discuss strategies that developing countries can adopt the balanced growth with responsibility, how they can harness global economic opportunities without sacrificing their environmental heritage, and how they can create frameworks that lift people out of poverty while protecting their right and dignity. Our goals for the season. Our goals for the season is not just to learn, but to spark conversation, debate, and critical thinking. We will hear from experts who have first-hand experience in this field, who will share insight into his work, what lessons, and what lies ahead. I encourage all of you to listen actively, ask questions, and engage with the speakers and one another. The challenges we will discuss are complex, and the solution will require diverse perspectives you are included. In conclusion, I believe that today's topic represents a crossroads, an opportunity to reflect on the future of developing countries and how they can navigate the complexities of international economics and sustainability. It is my hope that this lecture will not only inform but inspire us. As we all work together toward a more equitable, sustainable, and progressive world. Thank you for being here. And I must open this program by saying Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. The guest lecture event has officially opened.
Thank you very much for the special opening speech, Professor Dr. Istimada. Ladies and gentlemen, without any further ado, let's start International Guest Lecturer, International Economic Ecology Empowerment, Faculty of Economic and Business, University of Jember, with the theme Strategies for Sustainable Growth in the Developing Countries. Session which is going to be a guide by our moderator. Please welcome to the stage Mr. M. Abdul Nasir. Please give applause to Mr. M. Abdul Nasir. Dear Mr. M. Abdul Nasir, the time is yours.
Thank you, Mbak Lucy, for the warm introduction. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Very good morning, the distinguished guests, esteemed colleagues, the students, and the fellow participants. Allow me to begin by extending my sincere greeting to all of you. My name is Muhammad Abdul Nasir, and I have the great honor to serving as your moderator for today's event, International Guest Lecture, which will focus on international economics, ecology, and empowerment strategies for sustainable developing growth in developing countries. Before we dive into today's program, let's start with a round of applause to set the energy and excitement in the room. Thank you so much. Now it is my privilege to recognize and extend a warm welcome to our esteemed guests, the Honorable Ibu Dr. Siti Maria Wadayati as the Vice Dean 1, the Faculty of Economics and Business, University of Jember, and the distinguished Head of Department of Economics and the Coordinator of Study Program of Economics and Master of Economics, our respected speakers for today, and of course all the invited guests, the students, and the participants joining today. Thank you for being with us as explore crucial strategies for sustainable growth, particularly within the context of developing nations. We are excited for the insight that will be shared today from our distinguished speakers. As we all know, the intersection of economics, ecological sustainability, and community empowerment holds the key to addressing many of the pressing challenges to the world face today, particularly in developing world. In recent years, we know that the global conversation on sustainable development has grown louder and more urgent, and also this forum serves as an essential platform for us to delve deeper into these issues, exchange ideas, and explore innovative strategies to foster economic growth that is both inclusive and environmentally responsible. Today, we are privileged to have with us two outstanding experts who will share their knowledge and perspective on how developing countries can navigate this complex but critical paths to sustainable growth. It is my honor to introduce our first speaker. She is Ibu Yuriko Nakajima. She is a seasoned development economist with a rich background in international diplomacy and sustainable development. Currently, she is pursuing her doctoral studies in development economics at Universitas Erlangga Surabaya, Indonesia. She holds a master degree in economics from Kyoto Sangyo University, where her thesis explored the determinant of poverty in East Java. Ibu Yuriko brings extensive experience for her 26-year career from 1995 until 2021 at the Consulate General of Japan in Surabaya, where she managed public administration, diplomacy, and economic affairs. In her current role as a senior consultant at Worldwide Fund for Nature Japan, Ibu Yuriko is spearheading sustainable livelihood project in Sumatra and Pakistan. She also worked as a consultant at OS Selnajaya, focusing on translation, interpretation, and legal consultation for major clients such as Jetro and Asia. Please join me in welcoming Ibu Yuriko Nakajima to the stage. Please give her a round of applause. Our second distinguished speaker is Dr. Julie Baskuncilo, a respected academic and researcher from the National Research Council of the Philippines. Ibu Julie is an accomplished economist with extensive academic and research experience in public finance, monetary economics, and development economics. She holds PhD in economics from Universitas Erlangga, where her dissertation focused on fiscal and monetary policy interaction under inflation and interest rate targeting regime in ASEAN 3 countries. Her research expertise is evident in her role as associate scientist at the International Rice Research Institutes, where she worked on socio-economic projects related to climate change and agriculture. Now, it is my great pleasure to invite our distinguished speaker to come forward and share their insight with us. Please join me welcoming Ibu Dr. Julie Baskuncilo with a warm applause. Okay, we are honored to have both our distinguished speakers with us today. They will be sharing their valuable insight on important topics. To begin, our first speaker, Ibu Yuriko Nakajima, who will be presenting on spatial economics. Okay, very interesting topic about spatial economics. From the topics, Ibu Yuriko will explore key topics such as spatial data analysis, spatial metrics, and various models that allow us to understand how spatial relationship influence economic outcome. This knowledge is crucial. Why? Because especially in our increasingly interconnected world, where economic activities are no longer confined to border and geographical distance. The time allocated for the presentation is maximum of 45 minutes, Ibu. Without further delay, I now invite Ibu Yuriko Nakajima to deliver her presentation. Please give her a warm applause. please. If you don't, maybe you can introduce about your topic, the material about special economics.
Okay. Thank you for inviting us for the international guest lecture. My name is Yuriko Nakajima. I'm working a little long time in Kosa General Japan in Australia for the overseas mission in Japanese government, and now I'm working for WWF Japan for the development project in Indonesia, Pakistan, and other Asian countries. Today I want to talk about the spatial economics. I don't know how many students here interesting and maybe concerned about the spatial economics. It was started 1940 to 1950s about the spatial space in economics. But other times only geographic model and very classic models, it is not so much developed. But after the serial, maybe for 3 last decades, and it will develop because of the data is changed, like remote sensing data, satellite data, and other big data can be used for the space economics, spatial economics. So the econometrics for the spatial economics also increase, and other modeling econometrics also developed for last 3 decades. So okay. Not in the if you can show PPT here at the next page, please. Please skip to the next page. Please showing the next page for the PPT here.
Ini bisa tapi itu yang nggak bisa.
Okay, today I will explain from the introduction, spatial data, spatial matrices, models, and we will move to Q&A. It is not convenient to see. I just start with the PPT. So, what is the spatial economics? Do you understand the spatial economics? In the last 3 decades, it seems like renewed interest in the concept of space economics because of the increase of availability and large spatial data and database like remote sensing, satellite data, and mobile devices. So the study of economics occupied a relatively small part of the standard economics analyst Goodman said in 1991, and it is not really changed. Like at the time, international trade theory conventionally treat nations as dimensionless. This means the point that frequent, assumes zero transportation cost. So it is ignored at the space in economics sometimes. Then remote sensing can show lately for the photo from the satellite that how many light used in the nighttime. The nighttime lights counted for the GDP, same as like in growth of the GDP. So it is compared with 1998 to 2022 now. It was very different. And which point is blue? Blue is many people use light in or electricity in nighttime, which means that there's a economic activity in nighttime. So it must be a big GDP at the area. It's very small point, only point in some countries in 1980s. But in today, 2022, there are many bright blue light in Africa and Arabic, everywhere in America and Australia. And in the middle of the blue light, it will be showing a white light. It is very active in night time. Means a lot of electricity used for the night time means their activity is same as like in daytime. So the GDP is big in that area. It can be clear which area is not using electricity in night time means the activity of the economy also low. And that's the development data that can show and show in the night light. Maybe next page, please. Next. Yeah, this one. Like in 1992, the satellite data. It is a photo for the nighttime light. The lighting is showing that the blue point is active in the nighttime. And of course, it is correlated to the GDP. And down for the 2021 photo for the night lights, even in Africa and South America, it's become blue. It shows that the blue is nighttime, they use a light. And the middle of the blue, there's a white point. White point is very strong, a lot of electricity used even in the nighttime means their activity is same as like in daytime, even in this night. And that's the GDP is increasing in that area. So we can see from here what areas really need to occupy the actual project, and other is it's already developed very well. Next, please.
Next.
Okay. Many economic processes are spatially correlated, like Tobler's first law of geography. Tobler said that the relationship is always connected, but more closer is more strong relation. The point location is close means there is more effective to each other. So the spatial modeling is becoming increasingly important, like new and geo-reference data, advanced software, and new method and elimination technique. And new economic fields have emerged, like urban economics and new economic geography, or NEG. Next, please. And define the spatial structure, we have to make a spatial structure first. We will now use the Geographic Information System, or GIS technology, and the spatial analysis method are used based on the geographic information science. And those data are widely applied in various fields, including geography, surveying, engineering, space science, computer science, cartography. Cartography is to count how many space, how many distance for that map, and other analysis. And incorporating space in econometric application is not straightforward. It means it is difficult to put the factor of space in economy. Important to define the spatial structure of the data. So there is two. The important things: spatial weight matrices and modifiable areal unit problem, or MAUP. Next, please. So we will move to spatial data. I will explain from what is spatial data, consistently estimate OLS, and matrix notation is like a usual notation, and spatial and temporal, and spatial relationship, two-dimensional space, and define spatial structure of data. Next, please. So, what is spatial data? Not only time component, but the spatial data include spatial component. And the equation is shown like that: y sub ti equals beta x ti plus error term ti. And we start with OLS equation. yi equals beta xi plus error term I, where I is a location. It is equation 1. And the second, we will consider about the case covariant xi, covariant of xi, xj is not equal to 0, and yi equal beta xi plus f of xj plus error term I, where j are all other locations. Next, please. So let's thinking about the question 1. That equation 2, where with the equation 2, will beta estimates consistently with OLS when estimating yi equal beta xi plus error term I. So the I related for the equation 2 was yi equal beta xi plus function f of xj plus error term. Answer should be, you can choose one of the answer. A, yes, no problem with OLS. B, yes, but OLS is inefficient, so has a great standard errors. C, no, beta will be inconsistent because of omitted variable bias. D, no, beta will be inconsistent because of the reverse causality. What do you think? Maybe yes, maybe no. Okay, let's think about it. It is all else. Is anybody can answer? Please raise your hand. Still thinking? What? D? D.
No, beta will be inconsistent because of reverse causality. I think that there is a relation between the error and the independent x. Yeah, is it right?
Yeah.
The independent variable x. So we cannot use of the OLS. Maybe we can use the others of the estimation technical, like the general method of moment or something like that.
Thank you. It is very close, but not D. Because not reverse causality is a problem. So next, please. The answer is C. C, because it's omitted variables bias. It's like a accepted bias. Okay. Now we will talk about matrix notation. It is a very general notation, like some remarks on the matrix notation, like use bold symbol for vectors, use bold symbols and capitals for matrices, and identity matrix is I, so Ix for X, and the inverse X is matrix equivalent of reverse. Next, please. Now, spatial and temporal. There are three main differences between the spatial and the temporal case. Namely, one, within the spatial system there is no clear origin. No clear origin. Where does one need to start to track the relations? So it is a little difficult to find for the no track. And spatial relations are multi-directional. Not only for the one direction. One spatial unit, say a region, for example, for the region, can affect several other spatial units directly. And three, spatial relations are reciprocal. Spatial unit A affects B, and B affects A at the same time. Next, please. So about this relationship, time is simple, like a time series. Maybe you already analyzed for the time series before. There's a 3-point natural origin and no reciprocity and unidirectional. Like x sub t minus 3, like 3 years ago, affect to xt minus 2 years ago, and xt minus 2 affect to xt minus 1 year ago. And the last year result is affect to xt now. But in linear spacing, it's different. No natural origin and reciprocity and unidirectional. Like x1 affect to x2, but x2 also affect to x1 at the same time, and x2 affect to x3, but also x3 affect to x2 and x4 in the same time, and x4 affect to x3. Next, please. So now, if it is going to two-dimensional space, it is two-dimensional space become even more complex. No natural origin and reciprocity and multidimensional, like x1 influence to x2 and x3. x2 affect to x1 and x3. x1, x3 affect to x1 and x2. So I equal 1, 2, 3 can refer to point data, areas, regions, grids, like that. Next, please. Now, how to define the spatial structure of data? Like a specified through a spatial weight matrix. We have a spatial weight matrix. It's very usual to use it in spatial economics. Spatial weight matrix W consists of n by n elements and discrete or continuous elements. How to define weights? There's some weights like Euclidean distance, network distance, spatial interactions, and social networks. Next, please. Okay, now we will move to spatial matrices. How to define spatial matrices? Contiguity matrix, distance weight matrix, low standardization, standardization, and summary. Next, please. Now, how to define spatial matrices? There is two matrices. One is contiguity matrix, and another is distance matrix. We will use both of it. Which one is correct matrix for the models? Contiguity matrix is adjacent. Adjacent is first order contiguous, means the direct relation. And neighbors to neighbor is a second order contiguous. It is indirect relation. So we will come from the contiguity matrix, but we will see it is a direct relation or indirect relation, adjacent or neighbors to neighbor. First order contiguous or second order contiguous. And now, distance matrix, we have some types like k nearest neighbors or KNN, or inverse distance weight, or cutoff distance. We will see about the inverse distance weights. It is also very popular to use in the papers. Next, please. Now we will think about the contiguity matrix. N1 influence to N2, N and 3. N2 affect to N1 and N3, N and 4. N3 affect to N1, N2, but not N4. And N4 affect to N2 only. In this case, distance weight matrix. Next, please. For the matrices can be standardized. Like the equation is like this. Different principles can be used, and most common is low standardization. So this is S-dization. W sub ij star equal Wij over sigma k equal 1 to n and wjk, where k are other locations. And interpreted for this, down here for the sigma k1, k equal 1 to N and WGK is some of the connections to neighbors. And that means in up, WIG staff denotes that share of connection to neighbors, that relationship is strong on. So now we will think about the distance weight matrix. We will create the distance weight matrix. Next, please. I will give you a distance now. Please create an inverse distance weight matrix with low standardized weights. Again, create an inverse distance weight matrix with low standardized weights. You already know about the distance weight matrix, right? And you also know about the low standardized. Let's try to think about it. Now, I will give you our distance. N1 to N2 is 5. N1 to N3 is 4. Between N3 and N2 is 2. And between N2 and N4 is 4. So this is 2 and this is 4 and 4 is short. Don't think about it. It's only my writing is, the figure is like this. So just think about the distance is that much. And how you will make a distance weight matrix. Has anybody answered? An answer? Maybe we will concentrate to inverse distance weight first. We will make an inverse distance weight first. And later you can edit for lower standardized. Why it is need a low standardized? Because the inverse distance is not only distance like a 5 or 2, so it is a weight. We have to put the weight, but the standardized that weight. Now, if you have a paper, you can write it here, and this table is matrix from in that plane, and from N1 to N1. Of course, N1 to N1 is what? What is the answer? N1 to N1? 0. Yes, right. 0. From N2 to N2? 0. Yes. From N3 to N3? 0. And from N4 to N4? Yes, very great. So, that line is 0. And others means there is a relation, there is a weight, right? How is the weight? And how is the reverse distance weight? You mean the name of the reverse, meaning of the reverse is what? Reverse is just for the last pages, I show it to 1 over distance. So this weight, we will use the distance. Okay. For example, from N2 to N3, what is the inverse distance? How many? Hello? You don't need breakfast yet? Okay, from N3 to N2, it's half. Half. 1 over 2. Half. Okay, it is the inverse distance weight. Okay, skip it. So how about N1 from N1 to N2 now? 1 over 5. Yeah, it's the inverse distance. And from N1 to N3? Yes, quarter. Yeah, 1/4 or quarter. And N1 from N1 to N4. Because there's no direct relation from N1 to N4. The direct relation is only from N2 to N4. Other doesn't have any direct relation from N1 to N4 or N3 to N4. How you can go to N4? In case if it is the location. Yeah. N1, the quickest one. Of course, you can go N1 to N3 and N3 to N2 and N2 to N4, but it is long time. It is very long. So the quickest one is N1 to N2 and N2 to N4, right? Do you agree? Yeah. Okay. So how much is the inverse distance rate in this case? 1/9. Yes, correct. 1/9 because 4 and 5 and 1 to go to N2 first and then to N4. So 5 and 4 distance that used. Okay. If there's no direct way and it will indirect way from N1 to N2, N2 to N4. Not counted for N1 to N3 and N3 to N2 and N2 to N4. It is too long. So next please. So the inverse distance rate should be like this. And from N2 to N1 is 1/5, and from N3 to N1 is quarter, like this. Okay, do you understand now? Very good. And next, it is not finished yet because the question is create an inverse distance rate matrix with low standardized weight. So there's one more weight that we have to put for the space in it. How to do it? Is anybody know how to make a space distance weight matrix? This is not the distance weight matrix. This is only the inverse distance weight, only the one weight, and we need more weight. How to do it? How to count it? Please raise your hand if you can find the answer. Let me see from N1 to N2. The distance is 5, and inverse distance weight is 1/5. Okay. The answer is from N1 to N2. This 1/5, 1/4, and 1/9 is sum of it. And up is for the location, real location between the N1 and N2. So it's going to be 1/5 over 1/5 plus 1/4 plus 1/9. That's a real location that show and real distance weight. Like from N1 to N3, so it is quarter over 1/5 plus quarter plus 1/9. It's going to be the answer. This is weight for low standardization. This next slide. So this is the answer. N1 from N1 to N2. From N1 to N3 I already explained. And from N1 to N4. So the bottom is always for all the inverse weight that we will see, and some of the inverse weighted, and up is for the original location. And you can calculate it later how much is it. It becomes like this. So the strongest relation is from N3 to N2, the weight, and very not strong relation. The weight is smaller from N3 to N4 because it is the farthest location. Okay, next please. And to summarize the distance weight matrices, we have to check the exchange of matrix, connectivity, symmetry, standardization, like we just do it standardized, and distance decay. Today I'm not explaining about the distance decay because it's a ring. And now, please, we will try to think about another question. Next slide, please. Yeah. So, there's a problem of spatial weight matrix. What could be a problem with the following weight matrix? Y equal to E plus W. W is a weight. E slash W plus L term, where Y is income, E is education. W depends on the number of friends you have. E is education and Y is income. And W, the weight, is depend on the number of friends. Okay, then answer is A. The number of friends could be correlated to other individual characteristics like social capabilities or soft skills. And B. Income could influence the number of friends you have, implying an endogenous weight matrix. C. Sorry, this is a typo. Due to multicollinearity, value and gamma can be separately identified. D. The number of friends measured will always be measured with substantial measurement error, so that W is not informative. What do you think? Which one is correct? Which is correct? Y is income, A is education. And W depends on the number of your friends. You have 3 friends, 5 friends, or 15 friends, 100 friends. Is it going to be a problem for the weight matrix? Okay, please raise your hand. I think A is correct. Please raise your hand. You can choose more than one if you want. 2 or more than 3 or all is not good for them. All is not good, so you can choose some if you want. Or maybe your answer is all not correct. Okay? Please raise your hand. A is correct. Hello? Nobody? Nobody, okay. Okay. What is your name anyway? Dian. Dian. Okay. So why do you think it is correct? Don't answer it like 6 cents or something.
I think this track is A. The number of friends could be related to other individual characteristics, like in social capabilities.
Hmm.
Let's be sure to yeah. I think I just this A.
Okay. Okay. So it is become a problem because of the it is correlated. Okay, thank you. And next, you want to answer?
Yeah, I choose the A2, and I want to try to explain why I choose the answer A.
Yeah. Okay.
So,
What is your name?
my name is Natalie.
Okay.
Okay, thank you, Mrs. For the opportunity. I answer the A is the number of friends could be collected to other individual characteristics because I guess the number of friends we have will influence our environment, our habit, and our way to spend our income. So that's why if we have a small friend, that will our way to spend our income is different to our friend. But if we have more friends or more like a circle of the friends, we have a lot of way to spend our income. Just like that. Yes.
Okay, thank you. It's a very good answer. She said it's a circle. So the relation also shown by the circle. It is a different way. But, we are not talking about distance decay, but we will also use the ring, like a ring 100 to 200, ring 200 to 300. So that counting of the weight also ring. So, okay, you are A. Now we will move to B. Do you think, does anybody think that B is correct? B? B? Nobody. B. You don't want to choose B. B is not correct. Okay. Now we will move to C. Does anybody think that C is correct? Due to multicoloniality, bearer and gum cannot be separately identified. No answer. Not correct. Okay, we will move to D. The number of friends is measured will always be measured with substantial measurement error, so the W is not informative. Is anybody think it's correct? No? Not correct?
It is correct. It is correct.
D? Do you think D is correct?
Yes, because I think that there is the correlation between the number of friends, because there are so many of the
Friends or the region or anything else, and I think that there is the correlation with the errors. So I think that the weighted we use that is informative because there is a correlation between an error and the others of the spatial indicator. So I think that the conclusion is when we use of the spatial width matrix, we cannot use of the OL as a technical estimation. So we can use of the others to accommodate of the relationship of the potential of the correlation of the error and the weighted from the what is that the measurement of how the correlation among of the friends that you use in your model.
Okay, thank you. So there's to answer A or D. And nobody choose B and C, right? Okay, now next please. Yeah, the answer is A and B. So the D is a very good question about the relation, but it is included for the space. So it's still in a formative this way. And B, it can influence the number of friends you have, implying the endogenous weight matrix. So there's some models, but it is still it's going to be a problem. Okay. A also correct. The number of friends could be correlated to other individual characteristics, so it's going to be a problem. Okay. So you both right, A, you choose, but also B, you have to choose. So A and B is right. Okay. Now, sorry, little left. I'm up, and I will, well, please next slide. I will explain for the, it's very quick for the spatial life model, spatial regressive model, and spatial error model. For the spatial model, the equation is like this, where low is not equals 0, but the gamma and lambda is 0, equals 0. And this is y equal low w is weight matrix w y plus x squared plus mu. And the special dependence is dependent variables. It is like only a little bit different than usual lab models. And cross-regressive model. This one is x beta plus gamma w x mu, and only the gamma is not equals 0, while low and lambda is equals 0. Okay, next please. Spatial error model. A spatial error model is y. This is two equations. Y equals x beta plus error term, and error term is lambda w. E epsilon plus mu, and the low is 0, gamma is 0, but the lambda is not equal to 0. And usually for the basic spatial economics, we will use for the error model or log model. Why cross-regressive model is not so popular? Because it is not so much used for the equation analysis, and the model is not so sharp result. Okay, next is, okay, sorry for a bit over. Let me thank you for listening. This is the introduction of the spatial economics. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Very highly informative and insightful presentation on spatial economics with the mathematical approach, econometric approach, and I hope you all, the students, the attendants, can be understand about the spatial economic with mathematical approach. And the next session, we will explore the dynamic relationship between fiscal and monetary policy, focusing on how this policy interact in both developed and emerging economies, particularly in Southeast Asia. Dr. Julie will provide insight into the complexities of managing inflation, public debt, and economic growth through well-coordinated fiscal and monetary strategies. Without ado, I invite you all to engage in this enriching discussion, and I now hand over to Ibu Julie to begin her presentation. Please welcome Ibu Julie Baswecio.
Okay, again, good morning, everyone. I'm Julian Cubas Concilio. I'm a Filipino. I've been here in Indonesia sejak pandemic February 2020. So I've been here for around 4.5 months, years rather. Terus ako belajar di Universitas Jember, S3. Ya, mau wisuda, minggu depan, minggu lagi.
Congratulations.
So what I will be presenting today is just, well, not really my dissertation, but I try to extract from that and just add some inputs like, the sustainability section. So, because mine is really into public finance, monetary, kebijakan moneter dan kebijakan fiscal. And I'll just speak in English. So in my dissertation, I have 3 countries, ASEAN 3, Indonesia, Thailand, and Malaysia. I did not include Philippines because back then, I couldn't find data on certain variables like the components of government spending. Ito yung pinalawaran pemerintah. Because it's triwulan, it's quarterly, so I decided to change the topic. And eventually, I came to that point. Mungkin lanjut pa, I don't have to show me CV. That was all. But in a way, I work also in the agricultural sector. So I work in International Rice Research Institute. So around I think that's 2.75 years now. I worked there in the Philippines, Sawa. Then I moved to Manila. Then I work as a business development officer in So as I was saying, thank you again for the invitation to this international guest lecture, especially to or most of you who invited me. So I appreciate it because it helped me get out of the usual pandang. So the usual viewpoint that I have, no? Because actually in my dissertation, the sustainability word just appeared 11 times. And except for the bibliography or references, no, the sustainability comes with the term debt. So, well, the littlest that you can find in my dissertation is debt sustainability. Nothing about environmental sustainability, social sustainability. Then I tried to Google it, and well, perhaps this is a bias, and that is also a bias because when I first thought, sustainability, so that must be environmental, that must be something green. So how should my presentation or my dissertation be integrated into that? So you have the usual. Nandiyo pa, mungkin yung ESG, no? The environmental, social, then governance. Then actually in some frameworks, you don't have the governance, it's the economy. So that's the usual bias. No? So with the invitation for this guest lecture, I had to read next part. It's one of cognitive framing or reframing rather, when you try to look at things from a different angle. So you can see if it's from afar. Also, this is my dissertation, but then, how do I integrate? How should I focus on certain things? So you can have here the extreme close out. Then you see that perhaps my dissertation is not far off actually. No? So there's a sustainability there, and it's very important because at least in the fiscal and in the policy making realm or policy making situations or circumstances, that sustainability is very important, especially in terms of keuangan, meaning management of financial resources. So I think that's what I'm saying. So I will focus on economic sustainability. So I will follow this roadmap. I will talk about the interplay or the interactions between monetary and fiscal policies in promoting economic stability. So as you can see from the first to the sixth, so I tried to differentiate the stability from sustainability. Meaning sustainability, we look at the long term, long?
Jangka panjang. Jangka panjang.
Jangka panjang. Jangka panjang. Then stability, that is jangka pendek. See? So yeah, short and long term. There was a quick literature review, then the conceptual framework, then the S1 model, then some discussion. But of course, I don't take it as may ujian, terbuka atau ujian tertutup, yeah. So this will be just lighter than that, but I didn't really make an attempt to make it very light. Otherwise, it might lose the sense of this presentation. Nandiyan pa. Yeah, I think that was what I mentioned earlier about the stability and economic sustainability. So at least, well, this sustainability, as I was mentioning, I mentioned, this is for the long term. Of course, the role of the authorities, ito yung monetary and fiscal, monetary and fiscal policies, they try to stabilize the macroeconomic variables now, because who wants uncertainty, who wants instability? So in the short term, jangka pendek, the inflation rate, because that's the concern of the people like you, no? I mean, yes. Well, perhaps not that much, but for example, Grab, Gojek, makanan, at least since 2020 when I came here, perhaps the raise was, well, not in terms of percentage, but perhaps 1 atau sampai 2,000 rupiah. Well, perhaps, it's not much, but when I convert it to peso, it's also, so that one, the unemployment, the exchange rate, so those are the short-term considerations of the people and of the government and monetary authorities. While sustainability, this is more of a long-term. No, like, where do we get the money from to sustain all these things? So, lanjut pa. Okay, so now, I'm not sure if I got your attention, but I will move to the crux or the heart of my presentation, which is, well, monetary and fiscal policies. So, let me look at my notes. Anyway, here, monetary policy and fiscal policy. Well, I'm not sure if everybody will agree, but of course we know that monetary policy is viewed as the better management tool, because it can easily, manage the fluctuations in the output gap and inflation rate quite readily, and based on the literature, the effects can be seen. So it's quite stable. But for the fiscal policy, not so much. But since, for example, in 1992, where there was, like in Europe, this EMU, Economic Monetary Union, something like that, they use same currency so the euro. No? So for that, if you only have one central bank like the ECB, European Central Bank, of course it's difficult to manage it's not difficult to manage. Actually, they lose their authority or their right to maneuver the monetary policies, because it's just one for the entire members of the EU, of the European Union. So, and even I'm not sure if it's in Japan, but in other countries, like for example US, the policy interest rate was so low, for example, near zero, you call that ZLB, the zero lower bound, that you cannot go lower from zero, because otherwise, zero should be the lower bound. And if the monetary authorities would like to loosen monetary policy, it can never go down below zero. Although, at least when you look at the calibration of the Federal Reserve policy rates, it's actually effectively negative or went below zero. But then the problem also with monetary policy is, at least in Indonesia and other countries, there's an evidence of weakening of monetary policy transmission. well, there are many channels through which the central bank can have the monetary policy conveyed or transmitted to the banks or to the people. But yeah, so far in this, using the BI 7-day rate, no, Bank Indonesia 7-day rate, there's a weakening because it's not it's not seen, meaning there's a lag, yeah, that's the word. There's a lag in the transmission of the monetary policy. Like for example, here in this graph, yeah, if I remember it, in 2008, 2009, there was a global financial crisis, GFC. There was a policy rate is the blue. So at that time, the central bank, the Bank Indonesia, tried to lower the policy rate, but then the interbank market rate did not want to also lower their interest rate. When you have the policy rate, and then you have the different rates, lending rates, working capital rates, borrowing rates, but the interbank market was a bit frozen, meaning they don't want to lower their interest rate. And then if you loosen monetary policy, then there will be a recovery of the activity, kan? Because credit or investment will boom. Tapi, it's frozen. That's why what can they do? No? So at that time there was also weakening of rupiah. There was depreciation. So it's really difficult to maneuver. As for Thailand, of course Thailand is also inflation responsive, but throughout the years, because of some coup d'etat or floods, I think back then, also in the GFC here in 2008, then some coup d'etat way back in 2011, and well, there's around 14 perhaps. Alanjut pa. Let's see if I can remember things. So this one, the output gap and exchange rate. So these are also the things of the economic stability that I mentioned earlier, no? That central monetary authorities have to look into, of course, with perhaps the help of the government, because when you have your aggregate demand, it's the Che plus E plus G kan, so meaning the government also has a function in there. Lanjut. So this one, the interplay between monetary and fiscal policies. So I have the fiscal policy here in red. So what do we want to say here? Because, well, as you can see, it's per country, Indonesia and Thailand. But as you can see, when you merge this one, the tax to GDP ratio and the central government to GDP ratio, there's a budget deficit. I'm not sure if really it's a budget deficit all throughout, but it's good, no? If there's budget deficit, meaning so long as it does not go over the budget deficit target of each country. I think for Indonesia that's 3%, and during pandemic, it even exceeded the budget deficit. It went around, I think, 4 or even 6. But according to Sri Mulyani, when they were doing the fiscal consolidation, and eventually they managed to lower the budget deficit within the target of 3%. So it's not bad, if you have budget deficit, but it's within the target. Because what will you do with the excess money, with the excess revenue, with the tax? But as I was saying here, so there in some years you have some fiscal stimulus, like during the global financial crisis in 2008, 2009, then in a COVID pandemic. So if left unchecked, meaning if the government doesn't monitor it regularly, then too much spending, because where do you get the spending from? No? So you get it from your tax or from your debt. No? And if left unchecked, then the debt there on the, at least it's a nominal government debt to GDP ratio, then it will spike. And before you know it, the debt is bloated. And how will the government pay for it. Well, in literature, we know that it's through the taxation, no? But here in Indonesia, I think, yeah, it's one of the countries, at least here in the Far East, or Southeast Asia rather, no, that the tax to GDP ratio is very low. I think average of 11%. So I'm not sure if it has risen in the last years. I don't follow the UU in 2021 or 2022 ito. But with that, how can the government pay for the government spending? So it's just debt or tax, kan? So at least during pandemic, you can see there the green and blue lines, they all spike, no, starting 2020 or perhaps first half of 2020 because of the fiscal stimulus programs. But for Indonesia in 2012, 2014, I think it began to go down. But slowly you can see it's the U shape, no? It became, I think that's convex, so going down. But for Thailand, a bit, small, but there was a steep increase in 2020 because of the fiscal stimulus program. And if I remember it correctly, Thailand has the highest fiscal stimulus spending during the pandemic among ASEAN countries, including Timor-Leste, of course. Nandiyan pa? Okay, so how much time do I have? So general findings from the literature. There are 3 points here. So, okay. So I think the first point I already mentioned that the monetary policy is kind of superior to fiscal policy because it can easily impact or influence the other variables like output gap, no, and the suku bunga, it's the inflation rate. But of course, I mentioned earlier that there was a lag. That relationship you can see from the Taylor rule, no? The Taylor rule. At least now we have the forward-looking Taylor rule. Then the second one, that's the transmission lag. Then the third one is during periods of high uncertainty, households and firms, the economic agents cut back on spending and investment and increase their precautionary savings rather than reacting to interest rate variations. So in the third part, I think what was being said here is that, for the consumption and investment functions, you know that, no? Yung C equals, your autonomous consumption plus, C, consumption as regards R. So if the real interest rate is high, then more savings and less consumption. Then investment is also negatively related to R, to real interest rate. But according to this, at least Juro, who's now the Wakil, the Vice President, I think, of the Bank Indonesia, then, there's a bit of insensitivity here, meaning the consumption function and investment functions are not reactive or sensitive rather to interest rate changes. At least that's what he found. You can make your own research and perhaps refute his findings. Lanjut pa. Okay. Ito aja, yan, nomor 2. Well, in Asian emerging market economies, we tend to be fiscally conservative in normal times. Asian meaning up to there in the Arab countries. No? So fiscally conservative in normal times. Meaning we don't spend so much during normal times. But I think, sometimes, we, in Asia, we are procyclical in spending. At least in developed countries, we are, counter-cyclical. Then there are findings from Chevik and Merrigan and from International Monetary Fund that fiscal expansions in EMEs tend to have significant effects on inflation depending on fiscal space and economic conditions. Yeah, that's actually one of the motivations why I did my research, because during that time, pandemic ito, 2022, inflation is so high. But eventually, yeah, in Indonesia, later in my results, you can find that, yeah, it's not really, it's high, but not, there's nothing to be fearful about it. It's manageable, at least according to the Bank Indonesian governor. Yeah, but again, in a broader context, in fiscal expansion, it's not only, yeah, in my objectives later, you will see that fiscal policies can also affect inflation. It's not just monetary policy, tightening, then lower inflation, but fiscal policy, fiscal expansion if too much, and fiscal space meaning tadi the debt. If you don't have space or room enough to maneuver to, if debt is so high, then that will lead to inflationary pressure according to some research. In Indonesia, we have Triana and Dengue. So they found that there's asymmetric effect of fiscal policy on inflation in both short and long run in Indonesia. But I'm not sure now whether it's positive in the short and long run. But the impact is not really same between short and long run. Then the third one is, yeah, it's not part of my research, but this government investment. So this is also important in terms of economic sustainability because, yeah, he has three, targets before, at least three things in his mind. I forgot the other one, but the first one is human capital, improvement, for example, education, and perhaps social things. Then second one is the infrastructure. Now that's why in Bandung we have the wish and many things happening here and there, building the airport in Candelaria or what. The third one I forgot. But you see this public investment, it has long-term in nature, unlike public consumption, which is the government consumption and government wages graduate pegawai pemerintah. So I didn't really look at that public investment, but yeah, if you want, then you can do our research on that because based on the literature, here the supply side effects of government spending. Because some would say that government spending it will impact inflation. But if you look at the decomposition or components of government spending, for example, public investment, public consumption, including wage, then yung barang, I don't know what barang is in English. Third is subsidy, then grant, then you have the social transfer or social protection. Then you can see that they may lead to inflation, but at least for public investment, it was found out that because of its long-term nature, because its nature is long-term, then it will have an impact on the growth, no? So that's beside the inflation that we want to look at in economic stability. But if you look long-term, then it will impact growth, and so perhaps that's more. If that's the goal of the government, meaning it's up to you whether now, you want the instant gratification or just wait for the future. So this one, I think this is just the interaction between monetary policy and fiscal expansion. So how can monetary policy support fiscal expansion? Because later, I will show that in Indonesia, is still, as much as you want to coordinate, at times there's conflict. Lanjut pa. This is just the framework of my study, so which affects which. but I'll just focus on certain things. This one, foreign shocks, it's a good thing not to study, but I didn't really look at it because, yeah, I mean, it's too broad and I also don't have time. But yeah, if you want, because now, at least with, well, Indonesia and Thailand are small open economies, but since, at least for Thailand, the trading, how do you call that, the trade ratio, they call that, meaning its trade policy, it's more open than Indonesia, then it really can be affected by foreign shocks, no? I mean, world shocks. In Indonesia, same, but yeah, I haven't really looked into that. Perhaps there were already some studies, but yeah, you can work on that. As well, that's the hip thing now. Lanjut pa. Yeah, this is very quick. If you want, well, I have a paper published, but the model is kind of different because at that one I did not include exogenous variables. It's published in public sector economics, so the variables were just 8. But this one in my dissertation, which we just submitted a few weeks ago, or I think a day back, just last week I think Tom Simas, at least for me, he just submitted it last week. So this is my model. So basically, well, this is S1 model. No? I use this instead of the usual SVHM. Ito. Well, S1 because, well, it's based on data. So in SVDCM, you have some co-integration there. I check it, there's none. And usually it works better. Then for my dissertation, I did not do panel VAR. Because, why? There's some limitations in terms of the use of the reviews. But in any case, what's important here is that you can see there that I think, I'm not sure if you know how to read the matrices, but what it says here, for example, ito yung, let's see the PECHE, private consumption last. So it means that private consumption can be affected, influenced by all other variables before it. So there, from top to bottom, there's downward or declining exogeneity, meaning on the top there's more exogeneity, meaning they cannot be affected. That's why you see 0, 0 there, null, because they cannot be affected. And it's also my model, no? I had it black. We call it black exogeneity, because they cannot be affected. But here, the FER, foreign interest rate, the B21 there, in the A2, no, at least you call that A2, B21, so it can be affected by the COP. COP is commodity inflation. So, yeah, so I have 2 exogenous variables, the world price inflation, world commodity inflation, not the oil, but the world commodity inflation. So it includes both energy and non-energy. Then the foreign interest rate, which I use is US. Then the rest, tax and government, these are variables of the fiscal variables. Output gap inflation goes count before interest rate, the IR, because I follow the Taylor rule, no? That interest rate moves according, if there are changes in the output gap and inflation. That's why in IR, as you can see here, IR, if your eyes are big, can see are meaning good enough. Then as you can see here, to B85 and B86, meaning if it's not 0, then the coefficient is positive, meaning the influence is, not positive C, but it's non-zero. So B85 and B86 are not equal to 0. If you have questions, then I can explain later. So I'll just move. Lanjut pa. Lanjut. Those are just the fiscal policy and monetary policy rules I've used. Lanjut pa. Okay, so I'll be very quick. So I have several problem statements. I just pick those that are relevant to you, or at least relevant to this lecture, the one of the sustainability, stability and sustainability. So first one is how do monetary and fiscal authorities respond to inflation shocks in order to meet the inflation target? Lanjut Pak. Lanjut lagi. Yeah. Lanjut. Very end. Okay, so as you can see here, both Indonesia and Thailand are inflation responsive. So the shock is inflation, then on the left-hand side, the interest rate. So whenever there is a positive shock to inflation, all of my shocks here are positive, meaning I didn't look at asymmetric shocks, meaning what if inflation goes down? That's not my goal. It will also hit up time. So I just limited myself to positive shock. So as you can see there, the shocks, the impulse response, the quick line came in the middle. So it went up. So meaning, their Bank of Thailand and Bank of Indonesia are quite responsive to inflation shock. Then the government spending, what do you want to say here? If there's inflation shock, at least in Indonesia, there's also an increase in government spending. Perhaps because, if the consumer prices, if the prices have gone up, then perhaps the government is forced, terpaksa, is forced to give something to those affected, whether that's in the form of subsidy or social transfers. The government spending here is the total central government spending. But the amount, at least the multiplier there, the 0.00.01, it's not big enough. But for Thailand, there's a lag. So I don't know. The government of Thailand doesn't respond sooner. Lanjut pa. So this is the other side, no? So think of it this way. There's an inflationary pressure, there's a shock, then how do monetary and fiscal policy respond? Then after that, there's a shock, no? So monetary and fiscal authorities will increase or decrease the policy rate or the government spending, but at least in my case, it's positive. Then, so what will happen to inflation? So as you can see here, at least in the interest rate, the upper panel, there's a lag. This is what I mentioned earlier as transmission lag, because with monetary policy tightening, isn't that inflation should decline. But at least in Indonesia, it might take, at least on the 8th quarter, perhaps 2 years for inflation to respond. Of course, I forgot to mention that my data start from, at least for Indonesia, it started from 2023 Q1 to 2022 Q4. It's lower because I don't have the debt. I don't know where the data on debt of Indonesia. I look at the SUSPI. But in the SUSPI, it's only started in 2003 Q1. There's this buku merah, the red book, but I haven't found the red book that says to have longer. But other researchers like si Juro, I saw that he had longer time series, but I couldn't find those data. So I just limited myself from 2003 Q1. I think if the debt to GDP ratio, those data are available from that period. So as you can see here, the interest rate is, the impact on the response of inflation experiences some lag, same as Thailand. Sa government spending, I think that's what I'm saying, that fiscal expansion could also influence inflation. Nandiyan pa. So this is about the sustainability, because as I mentioned earlier, if there's inflation, if the government wants to help the poor or to those affected, then it can control or manage inflation by spending more, kan? Meaning, give subsidies, whatever. But yeah, where does the government get money from? So it can be from tax, but in Indonesia, the average is 11% during my sample period. And then, yeah, it could be from debt. So, yeah, utang niya. And at least here you can see that, yeah, for Indonesia, it's a bit high, 0.2. Well, not above unity, but still under consideration. But for Thailand, yeah, bisa juga, I mean, nakita sedikit saja. Lanjut pa. Terus, yeah, nomor 4. So, yeah, so what we have seen so far is the relation between inflation and fiscal and monetary policies. This one, I just added private consumption. So someone asked me actually, why not economic growth? Well, you see, economic growth, I mean, it has been researched more often, no, Tapi for the private consumption, I use that variable because it's more related to inflation. Because who's affected by inflation? Of course, the wage earners, the consumers, and the firms in case of wage inflation, or the prices of the inputs into prices. So yeah, I mean, now I'm looking at the impact on private consumption. Lanjut pa. Until we see that red. Lanjut. Next. Red thingy. Yeah, I mean, basically what I'm trying to show here is that private consumption don't respond to interest rate and government spending. Well, this has been just to share with you, this has been my dilemma. Dilemma maksudnya, my problem, my concern, because I did not see any results. So it's either I have a mistake in my modeling, but I tried to do some robustness checking, but I really can't find. Yeah, I mean, for now, I take it because I had good well, no? Meaning I try to make the model really as accurate as possible, but I did not see any results in there. So eventually, in my conclusion, I will say that, well, I mean, fiscal policy, the government spending in particular, doesn't impact the private consumption. Even if we say that, I mean, bisa sih kalau, if there's help from the government, and that's good for the people, but in general, no impact. But of course, as a human person, we don't say to the government, oh, you don't give these people subsidies or social transfers. So eventually, we will see that it could be the reason could be the targeting scheme. Now they're trying to have it to check. So the direct transfer to conditional transfers. Lanjut pa. So basically with this decomposition, because I didn't see any impact on private consumption, what I did was, this is just a brief addition. So I tried to look at the different components of government spending. Because, well, I think way back in 2014, 2015, there was a reform, fiscal reform in Indonesia to minimize the subsidies, especially the energy subsidies. That's why you can see there a drop. Then, social protection programs have been increased. Then, government consumption also increasing. I don't know if that's because of the wages of the teachers, perhaps not. Lanjut pa. Then, this is just the relationship. Lanjut pa. Lanjut lagi. Ito, lanjut. I know, you just click it, terus, So we can see there earlier that we said that, government spending on the right side, that's the central government spending, it can impact inflation. I mean, the response of inflation is positive. So when you do the decomposition, you can see that this increase in inflation might have come from subsidy and the social protection. Not from the government consumption because it's below or the average of zero, but for the subsidy, social protection, they won't increase. Lanjut pa. Lanjut. No, iso ito aja. So here, private consumption, as I mentioned, no, it's not even statistically significant. That's my concern before now. But my pivot being said, now what we want to look here is not more of the statistical significance they have, of course, but it's more of the impulse response, whether they go up or down, and perhaps the persistence. To persistence is how far. Yung jangka niya, how far does it go up or go down, or until it reaches the steady state or the equilibrium, it goes back to zero. So you can see here that, what do I want to say here, private consumption. For the social protection, it's not helpful. Ito lang. I try to make some comments on this. It's kind of difficult if you have that result and if that your social protection, your transfers to household do not really affect private consumption. So I think with that I used but I did not use the intertemporal government budgeting because you have to raise tax because that a large percentage of people in Indonesia, they're not taxed, their wages are not taxed, so it's possible to use the research bureau. I forgot the title, but it's more of the intertemporal government spending that tax perhaps. So what I use here is just the Modigliani and Modigliani is the life cycle hypothesis, and the one of Friedman, the PIH, permanent income hypothesis. That perhaps if it's just temporary increases in government spending, the consumers will rather save than spend their money. But if you want to look into that, then you can do your own research. Lanjut pa?
Thank you, Julie. 5 minutes now.
5 minutes, yes. Lanjut pa? Lanjut? So here, at least for the government spending, the response of debt, it actually increases. Then where does the increase come from? 5 minutes. Okay, so that's from social protection and subsidy spending. So that's the meaning. What feeds to the increase in the debt whenever there's a positive shock in government spending. Lanjut pa? No, ito aja yan. That's the one. So this is the last thing. What I want to show here is how monetary policy, how Bank Indonesia, for example, and ito yung Kementerian Keuangan, how do they help each other? So basically, when there's a shock in government spending, Bank Indonesia would increase the policy rate. It's a good thing because you can see the independence between the two, autonomy between the two agencies. But sometimes, perhaps, who knows, Bank Indonesia can give in, then, okay, you even if there's government spending shock, then inflation will rise, interest rate will, perhaps you maintain first the policy rate, at least that what works for Thailand. But in the last several years, there's already a coordination between BI dan ito yung pemerintah. Lanjut pa. I will not go to the conclusion anymore because I've talked a lot on that. So there are several conclusions here, 3 slides. Lanjut pa. We'll go to the last text. So I mentioned this all. These are just the repetitions of what I mentioned earlier. Lanjut pa. I've already come to that. It's just, I tried to make a conclusion. But the main conclusion, yung kata-kata. The last one. Lanjut pa. The last slide. Lanjut lagi ka. Lanjut. Okay, the last. Lanjut. more. Landing next, yeah. So here are some policy recommendations. So yeah, I mean, in the first one we said that there should be a coordination. Because if we really want to achieve this economic sustainability, no, I mean, perhaps for the Bank Indonesia, it really wants to have macroeconomic stability or stabilization. But the government perhaps has another goal. No? It's more of economic growth. It's more of public good provision. It's about equitability distribution. No? But then, this debt management is on the part of the government. And it may happen that, well, if too much debt, then who will finance those debts? No? It can be, at least during pandemic, there was a quantitative easing. Then number two, changes in composition, as I mentioned, subsidy and social transfers, social protection spending, feed the increase in inflation, but do not change so much private consumption. Number three, in the long term, there might be a deterioration in public finances, meaning this fiscal space will be narrowed down because too much spending. I mean, the budget deficit will be too high. And that has an impact on inflation, at least in some studies. And number four, for the Bank Indonesia and Bank of Thailand to continue forward-looking monetary policy rule. Then lastly, but I don't know why I put this, but tax-related policies, at least to increase tax. But as you can see, when I spoke of fiscal policy here, I just focus on the government spending. To adjust again. I think that's the last. Yeah.
Thank you, Ilmu, Thank you for the comprehensive insightful presentation on the interplay between fiscal and monetary policy and achieving economic sustainability. We have gained a deeper understanding of how this policy, when appropriately synchronized, can help mitigate inflationary pressure, manage debt level, and ensure long-term financial stability. Ibu Juri also mentioned the effective coordination between fiscal and monetary policy is crucial, not only for managing short-term economic fluctuation, but also ensuring long-term economic sustainability. Okay, we will now it's time to engage our discussion session. We will have 2 round Q&A session. In each round, I will allow 3 questions for the all participants. Pak Herman first, and the second. 1, 2, and 3. Okay. For the committee, please, the speaker. Pak Herman.
Good morning. My name is Hirman Zayo as Coordinator Development Economic Study Program. Good morning, Mrs. Julian and Yuriko. Good presentation and this moment in vision, related vision in our study. I have many questions about related in your paper. In Japan, basically is not theoretical, but basically is empirical from phenomena Indonesia structure. Anytime, everyone learn in economic science will be divided to model economics. The first model economics also in linear model, and also the first model is also take, use, and dispose. Ambil, manfaatkan, dan buang. The first model. The first model doesn't adoption in environmental. This primer causes in crisis economic and climate change. The second model in circular economics. The characteristic second model in economics in takes, use, and recycle. This is not waste. And the second model is not always adoption in environmental. The prime causes is not degrading environmental. And now the global economics is support the model in circular economics. but not linear model economics. For my question is Ms. Yuriko in Philippines. You have expert in Japan. Yuriko is expert in special model economics. You can explain for our audience or special our reader the best formulation circular economic for adaptation in structural economics in Indonesia. The first my question for Yuriko for Japan. Okay. The second question from Julia. Yeah. I see in your slide never government spending in Indonesia spending government protection environment non-governmental, and the structure APBN Indonesia does not allocation protection environmental. What do you think about why in Indonesia structural economic doesn't allocation environmental protection? Thank you.
Thank you, Emma. Maybe Ibu Yuriko, can you answer?
Okay, yeah, I'll repeat the question to make sure that I understood it correctly. So you're asking why does the government not spend for or on environmental management protection? Well, I mean, to begin with that, yeah, one thing is I'm not Indonesian, so I really can't answer. Now, perhaps, yeah, that's the first one. So I really didn't look into the different spending patterns or patterns of the government. But yeah, just this is my musing. This is my thought. Because well, I'm not sure how the share of environment of the government budget goes to environmental protection. Perhaps really it's not too much. But and that's a difficult question because I really didn't look into that. But one thing could be the government just wants to say unleash, meaning to obtain as much income from use or exploitation of certain resources, and if certain structures such as if there are several sanctions or protection schemes to be put, then it might delay the implementation of certain activities. For example, I don't know if, for example, in mining, see, it's mining, so there are several rules before you can put up a mine, the safety, no, the keamanan of kasalamatan the people around them, and why not put so much into that? Because perhaps those who are working for that, they really want this project to go on. So I'm not sure if it could be part of I have another objective here, which is for the carrying out or implementation of the program, because I will get more income from that. Or it can also be the one of corruption, I don't know. That you just let go of certain social protection, of certain environmental protection schemes, then biarin aja, meaning dapat do this. Yeah, that's what I think. I'm not sure if that's the answer to your questions, but I think there's more into that my model cannot really account for.
It's not protection for environmental economics.
Yeah, they don't, because perhaps it's not one of the the concerns of the people. What they want really is to have this project, a certain project go on to start sooner, and because we will get income from this, then the environmental protection provisions, that can follow.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, I also want to make sure the question. So there's a linear economy and circular economy. And you said that Indonesia is a circular economy, And the question is, what?
You can formulation model, the best model, circular economy for Indonesia, and because basically for sustainable development for economics in Indonesia, you can explain in the best model circular economics.
Okay. It is start from the linear first. Remember that United States when 17th century, 16th century, 17th century, they are just want to product and want to sell to other country. But inside of the country in United States, it is only limited. And they, US have England. It is a big consumers area. So that they product and can sell to the England. And our time was a linear economy. But after the develop, and it's become a bigger GDP, is bigger, and it's going to be a circular economy because some of the countries related to the US production and selling, trading. So it is already included for the circular economy. Some of the part is cheaper in China or other Asian countries. So the first, when it is start from the production, like industry countries, it is linear, but it is close to the circular economy. And it is changed a little bit more for the industries increase, production is increased. Is that the answer for that? So now in Indonesia it's already inside of the circular economy, and some of the part of the production is not, it is cheaper in outside, and some part is Indonesia, you have an advantage, but some is not advantage anymore because it is too high for the labor's cost and other things. In Asian country like Laos or other countries have a cheaper price. Pakistan, for example, cheaper price, and it is better for the public production is product there. It's cheaper, not in Indonesia, but some part like a batik or the creatives design that you still can do it. So it is all everything in public you will product inside of the country, but some is moved to others. And there's a potential relation geometrically. So the special economy say that the circular economy is needed for all these economies. And that in one economy, you have a different nation, different characteristic, and they have a product not same all. You can product for example, the country A product this and that, same thing that country B also can product, like dishes, ceramic, chemicals, and what modern fabric, and country C in Asia also can product the same things, but the advantage is different, and how close it is. So they can help each other, or they can become an enemy possibly because you will product it in the same things together in that area. It's like a zero-sum game. You will eat or not, you will eat or you will eat. So the circular economy, you need a rule, and you have to count it for the advantage and disadvantage for the country. Not all country has the same characteristic advantages, I think.
Okay,
Thank you. The next questions?
Okay, thank you. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My name is Protla Yun. I'm a Master of Economics student of University of Jember. Firstly, I want to say to the two speakers. I enjoyed listening to Ms. Yuriko and Ms. Yuli's presentation today, and there are many new things we can learn about spatial wave metric or sustainability. And I have a question for Ms. Julie. that about the sustainability and relate to the theme of my thesis, especially in sustainable city. As we know that cities and metropolitan cities are different, and according to Adisa Smita in his book, say that metropolitan cities are cities that have a population about 1 million people, such as metropolitan cities on the island of Java, such as Jakarta, with a population about 10 million people, and Surabaya city about 2 million people, and others. As we know, for examples like Jakarta and Surabaya city actually tend to become unsustainable metropolitan cities because it can be seen they're starting from the increased population density and the existence of urban plans, uncontrolled congestion, and to end education problems that occur in the metropolitan cities and others. And then, as we know, that sustainable, we must have an economic, social, and environmental balance from what dimension. So, from what dimension should we improve, or what should we pick first? According to you, Mr. Ju, thank you.
Julie or yeah, no, it's me. But at first I thought it should be for Yuriko because she's talking about city sustainability, because it's about environment thing. But in any case, yeah, I mean to look into social, I think, and economic. Because if the city is too much congested, then I think the government should look into the from the economic and social point of view, not environmental. So that too much crowded, then can the city provide jobs for these people? Because if not, then you look at the city, then perhaps there could be like sprouting, less urbanization. Then you go to the outskirts of the city, and can the government really provide enough employment for the people? So that's for economic sustainability, and of course, there could be an increase in poverty. Then, if I think about it about social things, so if to crowd them, then do you have the enough educational and health facilities to cater to the needs of the people? So those things I will have to include in my study.
From the socio-economic aspect, I think the important role from the government is important for that, because maybe earlier time it will grow, the city will grow bigger and bigger, and they will do about the infrastructure and education, of course, other things, but then it is too many people in agglomeration and industry, and people will hide, and it's become a little problem, like you already know it. So at the time, how government will handle that? It can expand to the next city, bigger city like in Jakarta, or you can potentially separate. Like this part is in the center of the city, but this part you can move like right and the Surabaya government, municipal government say that it is only park and use train in the city, so not so much traffic jam and inside of the city. That kind of what government policy is needed. If it is too much big, too much expand. So the government policy also have to change when the scale is small, middle, or big, or too big. Now, why traffic jam? Because there's no public tools, infrastructure. It is not suitable, or it is not increased, same as like in a population increase. So it is a little too late to make a subway here, but now have to think about mass transportation is what. Not everybody buy mobile. Of course, we want to buy mobile, but everybody use mobile. For one person, one mobile is become like Jakarta. So how to organize? It is the role of the government. So the government is important.
Thank you for the answer. And maybe, how about the urban slums like Jakarta? How to be menanganinya? Thank you.
Handle.
To handle urban slums like Jakarta or Surabaya. But the more thing that in my mind, like Jakarta is a big city and the over urbanization. Like that. Thank you.
Infrastructure plan is organized with the GDP, economic, and the people all together. So you will make an infrastructure first to make a busway, transportation, station, and other things, but not much people use, and it also cannot manage by the government, right? And if you will make a new street in center of the city, but not many car use, and also it is useless to spend for the investment. So what is specialists that really know about the urban management, they have to plan. Like it is not good sample, but somebody, I said just somebody make a got the site, because it's always full in Jakarta, and between Bandung and Jakarta, he make a got like this for a long time, 3 or 4 years it takes, and it's already finished to done the infrastructure, and there's a hot rain, and it was full and okay. And then the people in Jakarta are angry about it. It's too long time to spend. Theory is good, but it doesn't work in lapangan. So that kind of the management and the planning was failed. It's gagal. It is a different way to do that. It is one sample for that. You have to think about not only about the infrastructure or flow or something. It is already combined all in city. So think about the urban economics. It's not only one thing for the street, one thing for the train, but it is combined. I think if you want to do it, and you will learn about the urban economics, and you will apply to the Jakarta's government job maybe to design it. So somebody have to design it very what you call to see all the problems. It is connected, not only one reason, one problem, but it is connected. So you have to cut some of that, and you have to implement not only only one problems. Like SDGs, I will make a development project in Indonesia and Pakistan. I'm not only choose the one SDGs. I will do the multiple SDGs. Why? Because it is a sustainable development. It's only for solve the one SDGs and finish. But it is not continuous. If you want to think about the continuous, like a sustainable development, you have to combine what the problem for here and there and that. This all together have to solve the problem. And that condition, the people over there also need it for continuously development. That's why the multiple SDGs is included in a development project now. Okay. I hope it will help to your knowledge.
Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you. Because we have a limited time, I open 2 questions again. 1, 2.
Thank you for the chance. Before I say my question, I will introduce myself. My name is Nuna Mustika Tiana from Master of Ekonomi. My question is pertain to Julie's presentation on sustainability. which discuss fiscal and monetary policy in ASEAN 3. Among the three countries, Indonesia, Malaysia, and Thailand, which policy is more needed to achieve economic sustainability? Are both policy focused in its country in ASEAN 3? And why only choose these three countries? Thank you.
Only choose?
Only choose these three countries.
Yeah, well, thing is, well, why choose these three countries? First is the most important, of course, is the data availability. Because these countries have those data that I want that could be long enough for a sample for a S-bar model to run. So I think I have around 80 sample points, no? And yeah, when you look at these three countries, they are, at least prior to the global financial crisis, they are a bit homogeneous. Of course now, I think Thailand, no, Malaysia rather, is moving up the line. But yeah, prior to that, their economic growth is more or less 5%. No? So that's why I chose these three countries. I could have chosen actually Philippines, of course, because I'm a Filipino and that's my target country. But apparently it did not survive, meaning it did not, I didn't have, at that time, when my objectives, no, I mean, problem statements. So, yeah, so I left Philippines out of my, my data. That was your first question is, which among the three do I think can
Which policy is more needed to achieve economic sustainability?
Which policy? Actually, it depends on the targets of each country. No? I mean, when we say sustainability, I look at it in terms of, yeah, at least in this study, the debt sustainability, because, yeah, that's for the long term. That's the accumulation of budget deficits. But as to how, yeah, there's really which policy is best among the three countries see. But when I look at it, it could be, yeah, the tax rates, because the tax ratio, well, I did not show Malaysia, I just showed Thailand and Indonesia, but across the three countries, the tax ratio is really a bit lower than the other countries out there. So, but I don't think that's a popular decision, because, yeah, which government wants to increase its tax? Because people will rally, meaning will demonstrate. So that could be because I look at that study. Well, basically tax is a deflationary policy, because if you raise tax, then your disposable income will lower because people will not consume. And apart from that, if it's the wage tax, then you don't want to lose the vote of your people. So I guess from you look at it from the stability, short term, then long term. Sustainability is long term, the debt, and I mentioned the fiscal space. If it's too narrow, then that could have an impact on inflation. But I think recently, though, from Malaysia, there was a study. I did not attend the lecture of this person. Forgot his name. Something like that. In Malaysia, because the debt ratio is actually really upward sloping, meaning it has increased tremendously in the last years. But he showed, at least from the invitation, he was trying to show that debt could not really could not deter the economic growth of the country. Look, for example, Japan. I think Japan has, if I'm not mistaken, over 100 or even 200% debt to GDP growth rate. But even if there's stagnant economy, they don't really look at that as so much problem. So long as you see, with that debt, which is the accumulation of your budget deficit, the government can make use of that money. So where where does government spending go to? And so even if I have debt, but I build infrastructures which in the long term would provide, and would have positive influence on economic growth, so I will just spend on it. But if I will just spend it for what government consumption, barang-barang, perhaps not. But of course, that's people would say, oh, that's important for the PNS. So whatever, no. So I think that's my answer is it depends on the goals of each government. And with that, it's very important that the monetary authorities coordinate with fiscal authorities.
Usually I have questions. How should the central bank in Indonesia or in Thailand manage the potential conflict between fiscal dominance and interdependence of monetary policy?
Okay, thank you. I think beginning, well, it's been there for a long time, but perhaps after the global financial crisis, they have set up this monetary policy committee, MPC, and at least in other countries too. So the central bank, we know that they are quite independent, autonomous, because even if the governor is assigned by the president, for example, here in Indonesia, it has certain autonomy. But then, I think in that committee, they asked at least three representatives from the Kementerian Keuangan, no? I mean, with Sri Mulyani in there, with Peri Wirjaya or something like that. Then two another people, no, sitting in the committee, so that it will not only be the BI, Bank Indonesia, to decide whether to tighten or loosen the monetary policy. And I think they also try, before releasing it, they try to come up, I think, regular meetings, and they also they release the minutes of the meeting such that the people will be aware. Because it's very important for the inflation expectations of the people. Because if people are not aware of if this expectations inflation is not inputted in the data, then there must be something wrong in there. So that one, the regular meetings, and there are representatives from each policy making body, and they inform the public. No? So you can see there in the Bank Indonesia website, and they even have they post the minutes of the meeting, even in Thailand.
Thank you so much. The next questions, please.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My name is Karisma Rupaka from Master of Ekonomi. I have question for Miss Yuriko. I very enjoy to Miss Yuriko presentation. There are many new things we can learn about the special weight matrix. But I have a question for Mr. Yuriko. Does the spatial weight matrix enable modeling interaction between location, such as geographical influence in spatial regression analysis, even extending to decision making in regional planning? Thank you.
General planning.
Planning.
General planning for what?
For
Urban?
may I speak Indonesian to explain? Jadi apakah matriks bobot tersebut itu bisa memungkinkan pemodelan interaksi antar lokasi seperti pengaruh geografis dalam analisis regresi spasial, bahkan hingga pengambilan keputusan dalam perencanaan wilayah.
Jadi so the government, the central government, and the next there is a municipal government or the local government, they have to work together for the big area to develop. Now, not only, for example, for the Surabaya, and there's a basic Sidoarjo, and if you want to make infrastructure like mass transportation, cannot only for the Surabaya that you will implement, but it is connected to the Sidoarjo. If you want to make a train from Surabaya to airport, for example, or to Sidoarjo, Pasuruan. So you have to coordinate to do the planning also coordinate. Not only the Sidoarjo want to make on plan for this year, and it is a short plan, short term, middle, mid-term, and long term that usually do. The short term is maybe for 2 or 3 days, mid is for 5 years, 5 to 10 years, and long term is 20, 30. But if it is not combined with other, especially from the small city to big city, because they are very dependent on the big city. Sidoarjo, basic, is very dependent on the development of Surabaya. In case if the Surabaya or the East Java, say it is East Java, decided not to use toll road, but you should use train to carry the cargo. What you will do, and it's very big impact to the Sidoarjo development, because the train is between the Sidoarjo and Surabaya. You will use train, or you will use toll road or the local road for transportation, and it is goes to the airport or to go to the port. It is very big event for the company that production and also want to sell to other area. So think about not only even the short, middle. Short is okay, but the middle you have to combine. You have to connect with the other, especially for the next big city, because it is geographically the relation is very strong. Relation is very big. You cannot ignore the location relation.
Ibu Yuriko, I have a question about how can we address the potential indigeneity issue, special biometrics.
In indigenous?
Yeah, indigeneity issues in special biometrics.
It is depend on the models that I will already show in 3 models, for example, but we already use for other models, of course, like I view SS or hedonic model, hedonic pricing model, so there are plenty models that can use. And mostly for the econometric models can use, but have to change a little bit for the social economics. So I think it is very much depend on the model in indigenous. But of course we have to count it for the macroeconomics. We have to count it for the indigenous, especially for the population and GDP and other things indigenous. And we cannot ignore for the indigenous, even if there's an exogenous for the Ilmu model. So I think it is following the usual econometrics, and plus we have something for the spatial economics. So it is kind of the little change from the usual econometrics.
Thank you so much. Thank you to Ibu Julie and Ibu Yuriko for your insightful and engaging response. Your answers have provided us with a valuable perspective and deepen our understanding of topic discussed. I note that there were 3 important points from the discussion. The first, the interplay between fiscal and monetary policy. To go to this lecture, we have deepened our understanding how fiscal and monetary policy, when properly coordinated, can foster economic stability and sustainability. And we learned that both policy play distinct but complementary roles in managing inflation, debt, and growth, particularly in emerging economies like Indonesia and Thailand. And the second point is the importance of the special economics. Maybe you can apply in modern economic analysis. Special economic has emerged as a vital field that helps explain how geographic factor influence the economic outcome, and we have seen how the spatial data and advanced economic model can offer insight into regional disparities and economic relationships that are crucial for effective policy making, especially in our globalized world. And the last point is collaboration between research and the policy. Maybe it's clear that collaboration between researchers, economists, and policymakers is essential, whether in the realm of fiscal and monetary coordination and or spatial economics. The insight gained from the academic research must be effective, translate into actionable policy that will promote sustainable economic growth and address regional inequalities. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, we have now come to the end of today's enriching discussion. On behalf of the organizing committee, I would like to express my sincere gratitude to our distinguished speakers, Ibu Yuriko and Ibu Julie, for sharing their invaluable insight into spatial economics and the interplay between fiscal and monetary policy. I would also like to extend a heartfelt thank you to all the participants for your thoughtful questions and active engagement in your event. As we conclude, I hope this event serves as a foundation for continued learning collaboration, fostering innovative approach to addressing the complex economic challenge we face today. We look forward to welcoming you at future events and discussion. Thank you once again, and until we meet again, I wish you all continued success in your endeavors. Stay safe and see you next time. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Please give applause to all speakers and moderators. Well, ladies and gentlemen, the next agenda is souvenir and certificate submission from the Faculty of Economic and Business, University of Jember, represented by Vice Dean 1 and Coordinator of Master Program in Economic. Please welcome to the stage Dr. Siti Maria Wardayati and Dr. Endah Kurnia Lestari. To the committee, the time is yours. The souvenir and certificate submission from the Faculty of Economic and Business, University of Jember, represented by Dr. Siti Maria Wardayati, to give Miss Yuriko Nakajima. Please take photo first. Please give applause to Miss Yuriko Nakajima.
Okay.
And then the next souvenir and certificate submission from the Faculty of Economic and Business, University of Jember, represented by Dr. Endah Kurnia Lestari, to give Miss Julian Q. Bascansilo.
Satu, dua,
Take a picture, please.
lagi 1, 2, 3.
Please give applause to Miss Julian Q. Bascansilo, PhD.
Satu, dua, tiga.
Before leaving the hall, let's cherish this moment by taking a photograph together. Everyone, please stand up and take your place in front of the hall and give best your smile. To the comedy, the time is yours. Please to the middle. Okay. Please to the middle. Take a picture. Take a photo. Are you ready? Okay. 1, 2, 3, cheers. Once again. 1, 2, 3, best smile. Okay, once again. 1, 2, 3, cheers. Okay, thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, you may now return to your seat. Once again, okay. Okay, once again. Okay, 1, 2, 3, cheers. Once again, 1, 2, 3, and best smile. Okay, once again, 1, 2, 3, cheers. Okay, thank you, ladies and gentlemen. You may now return to your seat. Finally, this event is dismissed. Thank you for coming. Thank you so much to all the speakers, moderator, and guests. Of course, thank you so much for the attention for all of the participants. I'm Lucy, as the Master of Ceremony, would like to say thank you very much. And sorry if we did something wrong. And see you next time. Wabillahi taufiq wal hidayah. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.